All right. Thank you, Jenna. A recent study shows the death rate for AIDS is much higher in the South compared to any other part of the U.S. But these southern states also have the smallest number of AIDS medical specialists. Katrina Helmer joins us live in the studio. Katrina, it seems like this would severely limit the treatment options.
That is the case. South Carolina has the 9th highest rate of new HIV infections in the country. But the most alarming discovery is how young these patients are, as young as 13 years old. In fact, according to the CDC, in the state of South Carolina, for young adults between the ages of 20 and 24, 55 out of every 100,000 are infected with HIV every year. That's one of the highest rates in the country.
They're the ones that are going to be in the emergency room. They're the ones that are going to cost our state the most because we didn't provide preventive care for them.
The reasons the Deep South is struggling to bring down diagnosis and death rates for HIV/AIDS are complicated, but social stigma, poverty, rural geography, and a lack of healthcare infrastructure likely play a role. Many people may not have health insurance, and many of the states in the South are unwilling to expand Medicaid. Impoverished communities also have less access to good education and good medical care, even if they are insured. The fear of stigma in a small town in the Bible Belt can also prevent people from getting help. And the difficulty of traveling to another clinic where they might not be recognized may be too great a challenge. Federal funding for special programs is very limited and typically designated to large cities. The areas in the South with the worst AIDS crisis, like in South Carolina, are often too small to qualify for money for HIV prevention and testing. The leaders at CARE Team say they have been able to refer 500% more patients to specialized care thanks to the Affordable Care Act. But since South Carolina did not expand Medicaid, there are still so many patients who fall below 100% of the poverty level who do not qualify for help and end up suffering.
So the poorest of the poor are the ones that pay full price for premiums through the exchange and have very high deductibles. So without assistance, people can't afford it.
The study points out that the same southern states studied for HIV/AIDS rates often get the worst marks for a variety of other health issues like diabetes. Live in the studio, Katrina Helmer, WMBF News.
Interesting stuff, Katrina. Thank you for that report. Investigators in Darlington County are looking into exactly what happened between sheriff's deputies and a wanted criminal Sunday morning. The suspect shot after a long car chase all the way through town. Sheriff Wayne Bird says Thomas Lewis was wanted for several armed robberies at Dollar Generals around town. He says on Saturday night he struck again and deputies went out searching for him. A high-speed chase with Lewis ended off Main Street. Investigators say a sheriff's deputy shot Lewis when he tried ramming his truck into patrol cars. Lewis was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. One man says he saw it all go down.
I could hear him yelling, "Stop, stop, I will shoot, I will shoot." And he just kept ramming. He kept ramming the car, and when that truck turned towards that officer, and it was backing up pretty fast, I thought, oh my God, he's going to run that cop over. And that's when the shots rang up.
The sheriff's deputy is currently on administrative leave. Officials say this is normal in an investigation like this. And a heads up for those of you who are hearing explosions in the West Florence area. Sheriff Kenny Boone posted on his Facebook page that they are being investigated. The post says that he believes there's no criminal intent here, that possibly people are target shooting and using those explosive targets. These targets are legal, but the sheriff is asking you to call police or the sheriff's office if you hear or see anyone using those types of targets.
Today, North Myrtle Beach will begin its fiscal year 2016 budget retreat meeting. It ends tomorrow. This morning, the mayor and council members will start the retreat at City Hall. The proposed 2016 budget is $2.9 million less than the fiscal year 2015 budget. Officials say that's due to a reduction in project costs, like the completed North Myrtle Beach Park and Sports Complex. The 2016 budget year is July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. And some big issues that could impact you are on Horry County Council's agenda for tomorrow night at 6. The council will hold the first reading of a rule that would make it a civil penalty for property owners who fail to send in local accommodation taxes. Then the first reading of an ordinance to change the zoning map for the Wicked Stick Golf Course will be up for a vote. Also, a first reading to talk about funding the existing terminal improvements at Myrtle Beach International Airport will take place.
Today we're going to learn more about the Junior Leadership Florence program. That program will allow 24 sophomores and juniors from across Florence County to learn more about themselves, the county, and how they can make a difference in their community. They'll also have the chance to network with county leaders and business professionals, all in hopes of landing internships, maybe even jobs. The Clemson Extension Service and the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce both holding a press conference today at 10 a.m. The deadline to apply for this program isn't until March 31st. And this week, students in Horry County will be taking the Measured Academic Progress Test to get ready. Students at Carolina Forest Elementary School created their own version of Mark Ronson's Uptown Funk. Their song called Map It Up. MAP is a computerized test that helps teachers, parents, and administrators improve learning for students and make decisions to help the child grow academically. If you'd like to see the entire video, we've posted it at WNBFnews.com. Just look for it under the local tab. It's worth seeing, folks. This Friday, President Obama is expected to visit Columbia. Mr. Obama will be visiting Benedict College to host an event for student and youth leaders. The president has not visited South Carolina since winning the Democratic presidential primary in January of 2008. South Carolina is also one of 3 states Mr. Obama hasn't visited since becoming president. After Friday, South Dakota and Utah will be the only states left on that never visited list.
Well, after 15 years, work to create a $75 million African-American museum in Charleston is moving forward. Organizers had their first public meeting to discuss ideas for exhibits and displays. Later this month, the first architectural drawings will be reviewed by city officials. If all goes as planned, construction could begin next year. It would be built on the site where tens of thousands of enslaved Africans first stepped foot in the U.S. Well, we are now in the middle of tax season, and that has many of us thinking about what to do with that refund check. NBC's Kurt Gregory has more.
If you're getting money back from Uncle Sam, that extra cash can feel like a bonus. But for many, what to do with it is the big question.
I always save in order to spend later in the year, perhaps on a trip or something kind of big.
We'll save it and probably save it in the college fund.
According to the National Retail Federation, nearly half of those expecting a refund plan to save it.
As the economy improves, we think Americans are looking at that extra chunk of money that they're going to get from Uncle Sam as a way to save for their future.
Only 13% said they will splurge on a vacation, while another 10% plan to spend their return on a major purchase like a television or a car. Perhaps the biggest savers are young Americans. More than half of Americans between the ages of 25 and 34 plan to tuck away their refunds.
This is the age group that may not have a lot of money socked away at this time. They learned from their parents about the potential for crisis with the economy. And they've really learned the hard way that money doesn't come easy.
Hard lessons learned from the financial crisis, creating a generation of savers. Kurt Gregory, NBC News.
Speaker of the House John Boehner is talking about the back and forth of funding the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans and Democrats passed a measure to temporarily fund it with just hours to spare.
Do you like your job?
Most days. Friday wasn't a whole lot of fun, but most days.
Why wasn't Friday fun?
Oh, it was just messy, and I'm not into messy. But listen, I enjoy being in a legislative body. I enjoy all the personalities, and I've got a lot of them.
The Homeland Security deal is not for long. Instead of a 3-week extension as expected, the department is only funded through the end of this week. And there are other big issues Congress has to tackle this session. One issue is whether to increase the nation's borrowing authority. That debate could have major repercussions for the recovering economy. Others include delaying a 21% cut in Medicare payments to physicians, preventing a cutoff of highway and transit dollars in the middle of peak construction season this summer, and renewing critical parts of the Patriot Act.
3 leading Republican senators are promising to help millions of people who could lose federal health insurance subsidies if the Supreme Court overrules part of President Barack Obama's health care law. The senators haven't given any details on how much assistance they'd propose, how long it would last, or be paid for. The High Court will hear the case on Wednesday. A decision is expected in June.
Your car might be carrying millions of stowaways that could put your family's health at risk. We'll show you how to kick them out at the next stop coming up.